Here's how to write a perfect power-up. There are going to be a couple of categories. I think there are 3 acquisition types: trained for, given, and unlocked. Power-ups that are purely trained for are Kamehameha, Kaioken, Spirit Bomb, Rasengan, Gear Second, Full Cow, and Divergent Fist. Powers that are mostly given are the Curse Mark, One for All, Enchanted Sword Mode, Black Blood, Uranometria, Flame of Rebuke, and Ice Devil Slayer powers. Powers that are mostly unlocked are Devil Fruit and Quirk Awakenings, Shikai and Bankai, Asa's Black Form, Reversals and Domains, Demon Slayer Marks, and Ichigo's Hollow and Quincy powers. Trained for means the character's trained for it. Given means another character gave the character a power. Character A could have never have trained for it or unlocked it on their own. Unlocked means the character always had the potential to use this power, they just had to unlock it. Unlocked power-ups need clear keys to unlock them. It could be vague training, specific training, or strong emotions. Whatever it is, it has to be established before the power-up arrives. Given and unlocked are the only 2 that I believe can't overlap. Trained can overlap with the other 2, because after a character is given or unlocks a power, they can train to learn how to use it, like Deku's One for All, or Ichigo's Hollow powers. After that type, there are 2 ways a character can learn the ability, assuming given and unlocked isn't the end of it. They can teach themselves, or they can learn from a mentor. Learning from a mentor is mostly tied to trained powers, but mentors in the past have taught characters how to use abilities they didn't even have. Unlocked is a great example, especially if the unlocked ability is a universal part of the magic system. A better example is Sero teaching Deku how to use Black Whip, and Ochako teaching Deku how to use Float. Neither mentor had the same ability, but their abilities had similar functions. Todo teaching Yuji how to master Divergent Fist is another one. Self-taught is when the character teaches themselves. Examples would be Full Cow, all of Luffy's gears, Sasuke's Chidori variants, and Beast breathing style. For abilities learned ahead of time, there are 2 main ways to execute it. The first is to show the whole training process and the power in chronological order. Examples would be Rasengan, Summoning Jutsu, and Full Cow. We know what they're training for, and we see the moment they first use it. Not much caution is needed with this. The second is to reveal the power mid-battle. I'm specifically talking about a situation where a character had their ability going into the fight. Examples would be Sasuke's Chidori, Ichigo's Bankai, Renji and Rukia's Bankai in the last arc, all of Luffy's gears, Eni's Lappy power-ups, and Wano power-ups. Proper execution would hint at the character training. This could be them saying that they trained, or showing them training without actually showing the ability. The latter is preferred because it's more convincing evidence. Then, during battle, they reveal the power-up for the first time. This can be paired with a flashback showing the ability in training. Examples of censored training are Kaioken, Spirit Bomb, Renji and Ichigo's first Bankai, Rasen Shuriken, Uryu's Arankar Bow, Kenshin's ultimate move, and Yuji's simple domain. An example of dialogue is Yuji saying that he trained with Chozo and Kamo, leading to his blood manipulation reveal. Not properly setting up the fact that a character has a new power can lead to disappointment from overly convenient writing. An example would be Yusuke's Spirit Cuffs. He learned it from Genkai going into the fight, but it was never hinted that he trained for it. The flashback of his training is only revealed after he reveals the power. There are also powers that are learned on the spot, which means the character went into the fight without it in their arsenal. Maybe the character had training before but never mastered it. Maybe they just learned or unlocked it then and there. These have the most potential to be the worst types of power-ups. Examples would be Super Saiyan, Ifrit Jamb, King of Hell, Dragon Force, and Ichigo's Quincy powers. The main issue is that these often feel like cop-outs that betray the audience's investment in the story. They come out of nowhere. Zoro's King of Hell was good because it was Zoro adapting using established concepts. The new sword sucking his haki and him having Conqueror's haki were both set up ahead of time. He just combined both of them mid-battle to use King of Hell. Luffy's future vision and Zoro's metal cutting suffers from the late flashback, like Yusuke's Spirit Cuffs. Apparently, the hero trained for the move, but we only learned that with a flashback right before or after they use it. That's too late of a setup, and it feels like the writer is rewriting history on the spot. Ichigo's Blood Vein suffers from retcons. It just appears out of nowhere, and the author tries to rewrite history to tell us that it's always subtly been there. Devil Fruit Awakenings suffer from an unclear key. They have an unclear key for unlocking, which is why Gear 5th suffered. Natsu's Ethereon Dragon Force came from him randomly eating magical rocks, which unlocked more dragon powers. Dragon Force also suffers from fabrication. At least Devil Fruit Awakenings were established long before Gear 5th. Dragon Force didn't exist until Natsu used it right there. Flame of Rebuke Dragon Force suffers from fabrication too. It came from Jalal giving him a special flame that was written on the spot. Jotaro's Time Stop has an unclear key and fabrication too. Super Saiyan suffers from fabrication. It comes out of nowhere with no extra justification. It was just triggered by strong emotions, which leads to my next point. Some power-ups are tied to emotions and character development. If the power is an unlocked type, and it is explicitly made clear that strong emotions awaken the power, like Awakenings in MHA, then that is fine. But when power-ups suddenly happen, an emotion is retroactively used as an excuse, that is not fine. It was not set up properly, which is what Super Saiyan does. Other good examples of power-ups tied to emotion are Ichigo's True Shikai, Naruto's Jinchuriki forms, and Sasuke's Sharingan. You could have a power-up that metaphorically ties them together. Examples are Kenshi's ultimate move, Urza's Clear Heart Clothing, Todoroki's Fire, and Sasuke's Rinnegan. The characters didn't literally have to develop to gain the ability, but the story rewards them with the ability after they develop. There are 3 types of manifestations of a power-up. The first is a new power. This is when a character learns a completely new power separate from their arsenal. Most powers that are purely trained and learned from a mentor fall under this category. The second is power expansion. This is when a character takes an ability that they already have and expands upon it. Quirk and Devil Fruit Awakenings fall under this. Most universal unlocked powers do, like Bleach and JJKs. The third is transformation, self-explanatory. There is room for crossover. Rasen Shuriken expands Rasengan, but it mixes the new power of Wind Nature transformation. Full Cow and Gear Second are power expansions that also take the form of transformations. Last is timing. There must be enough time passed for the audience to buy the power-up. This can be in chapter/episode count, or the amount of years passed in the story. The hyperbolic time chamber cheats that. In conclusion, these are the traits that lead to writing a perfect power-up.